Hello students, there is a good news for you. Now you can write the same matter at different speeds. Link of the same is given in the description box. Thank you. Start. The short question to be decided in this case is: has the magistrate jurisdiction to revive the complaint which has been dismissed for default of appearance of the complainant and re-summon the accused who has been discharged under section 259 of the Code of Criminal Procedure para. Complainant has filed a separate complaint under section 500 Indian Penal Code against both the accused, and the magistrate issued process against them stop on February 13, 1967, which was one of the dates of hearing before the magistrate. The complainant was about, with the result that the magistrate dismissed the complaint and discharged the accused under section 259 of the Code of Criminal Procedure and passed the following short order: para. Complainant has not appeared despite repeated calls. Stop. It is now 2:15 p.m. Stop. The case is under section 500 Indian Penal Code, which is compoundable and non-cognizable. Stop. The case is dismissed under section 259 Criminal Procedure Code. Stop. Accused persons are discharged. Stop. Para. The contention of the learned counsel for the petitioners is that the magistrate, after he had pronounced his judgment dismissing the complaint and discharging the accused, had no jurisdiction to review the same and revive the complaint. Stop. According to the learned counsel, the magistrate had become functus officio, alter pronouncing the judgment, and could not review the same and could correct clerical errors only. Stop. It is thus contended that the only remedy open to the complainant was to make a fresh complaint and request the magistrate for fresh proceedings under section 200 onwards of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Stop. Para. The learned counsel for the state contends that the order of the magistrate dismissing the complaint and discharging the accused under section 250 of the Code of Criminal Procedure was not a judgment, and thus the court had jurisdiction to revive the complaint and re-summon the accused. Stop. Chapter 26 of the Code of Criminal Procedure deals with judgment. Stop. Para. Section 366 of the Code deals with the mode of delivering judgment by a criminal court. Stop. Section 367 of the Code deals with the language of the judgment and contents of the same. Stop. The judgment will contain the point or points for determination, the decision thereon, and the reasons for the decisions, and shall also be signed and dated by the presiding officer in open court at the time of pronouncing it. Stop. Para. Section 368 of the Code deals with the sentence of death. Stop. Section 369 of the Code lays down that no court, when it has signed its judgment, shall alter or review the same except to correct a clerical error. Stop. The rest of the sections in this chapter are not relevant for our purposes. Stop. Para. The Code of Criminal Procedure does not anywhere define what judgment is. Stop. However, Section 367 of the Code lays down as to what shall be the contents of a judgment stop. According to this section, the judgment should contain the points or point for determination in the case before the court and the decision on those points stop. The court is also required to give reasons why it has reached a particular conclusion stop. It is only when these requirements are fulfilled that a particular order may be called a judgment stop. Section 370 of the Code makes a special provision for the judgments of the Presidency Magistrates Court and lays down in detail what has to be recorded by him stop. These provisions show that before it can be said that a particular order amounts to a judgment of a criminal court, it must contain the points for determination, the decision of the court on those points, and reasons for coming to that decision stop. In other words, it must result in either acquittal or conviction of the accused person stop.